Hey everyone, it's Mr. Vargas here again, looking to help out Math 3, Integrated Math 3, with tonight's homework, which is factoring, and that is going to be called Homework Set 0.3. Alright, let's jump right into it. We'll start out with number 1, really quickly. You've got 12x squared plus 4x. Now these ones we don't really have to use that whole magic x process, which I'll do in a later example. But here we can just go ahead and factor by picking out the greatest common factors from each term. So here we've got 12x squared and 4x. Well, what can go into 12x squared that can also go into 4x? And the thing that can come out of that, of both of them, is actually just going to be 4x. 4x can be pulled out of 12x squared. Well, how many 4x's does it take to make 12x squared? It's going to take 3x. And if you ever want to double check, you can multiply that back. 4x times 3x gets 12x squared. Okay. And then what else would go on the inside? We need to look at how can I make 4x. What times 4x makes 4x? That's just going to be 1. So there's factored form right there. I will circle that in purple. This is the factored answer right there. Okay, number 2. Number 2, we've got 6x squared y plus 2x. Okay, and now we're asked to factor that. I always tend to look at the coefficients first, so 2 and 6. What are the factors of 2 and 6? What are the greatest common factors anyways? And that would just be 2. So start from there, pull out a 2. Okay, and then I'll draw in my parentheses because I know I'm going to have that. Alright, then you move from the coefficient to the variable, the first variable, and that would be our x. So what do we have in common here with x squared and just a regular old x? Well, x goes into both of these, right? So I can pull out an x. Alright, and then how about y? We're done with x, now let's go to y. Here I have a y, but over here I do not have a y. So I cannot pull a y out of the binomial. So 2x is actually your greatest common factor. Alright, let's figure out what's on the inside. What do I multiply 2x by to make 6x squared y? You know that's going to be 3, because 2 times 3 makes 6. X, because x times x gets x. X times x makes x squared. And then you're going to have to multiply that by y just to get that y. 1 times y will make y. Alright, and then what times 2x makes 2x? That's just going to be 1. So there you go, that's that answer. Moving right along, jumping to number 3. We can play that same kind of game here with 8ab squared minus 12ab. Okay, so set up your parentheses because you know you're going to be pulling something out. First I look at the coefficient. What's the greatest common factor of 8 and 12? It's going to be a 4. Alright, now we go letter by letter. Let's start with a. So we got 1a here and 1a here. That means I can pull out an a. Alright, now let's look at the next letter. We've got b squared here and just b here. So actually I can actually pull out a b. I can't pull out a b squared because this guy does not have b squared. He just has a single b, b to the first power. So the most that I can pull out, or the greatest common factor that I can pull out, is just going to be b. Alright, multiply back in, or think about what you would have to multiply your factor by to make the original. So 4ab, we know that would have to be a 2. 4 times 2 makes 8. Okay, a times what makes a? Well, a times 1 makes a, so we don't have to multiply by a anything right here. How about b? B times what makes b squared? And that would just be a b. Lots of b's. And then if you ever want to double check your work, multiply that back out. 4 times 2 is 8. A times nothing, or sorry, A times just itself is A. And then B times B is B squared. So there you go. That's your original. So you did a good job of factoring there. Alright, on the inside, can't forget about that negative. 4 times what makes 12? That would have to be 3. And then A times just 1 would be A, and B times 1 would be B. So here we actually don't need to go any further. It's just going to be 4AB times 2B minus 3. Don't believe me? You can go ahead and multiply that back out. 4 times negative 3 is 12. A times that is just going to be A and then B. Nice. All right. Let's go to number 4. Number 4, and utilize the magic x that we learned in class today. So you've got x squared plus 5x plus 4. Okay, so you want to identify your a, b, c. Here a is going to be 1, because we have 1x squared. That's the same as having just x squared. So a is 1, b is 5, c is 4, and then AC is going to be 1 times 4, which is 4. Alright, we can use that magic x. Let's set it up. AC goes on top, so 4 here, and B goes on bottom, 5. Okay, so we got to think about what number times another number will make 4, but when you add it together you get 5. That one's pretty simple. It's just going to be 4 and 1, because 4 times 1 makes 4, 4 plus 1 makes 5. Alright, let's go ahead and insert the magic x with our numerators, and remember we used the lead term as the numerator, so here it's going to be 1x, so this is going to be 1x over 4 and 1x over 1. Simplify your fractions. They already are simplified or reduced, so we can actually just go ahead and write those as our binomial factors. And that means that 1x over 4 would become x plus 4, and then 1x over 1 becomes x plus 1. So there are our two binomial factors. Just go ahead and write them as a product, and you have officially factored that polynomial right there in purple. Okay, let's do a little bit more complicated of an example using the magic x. How about, let's go to number 12. Number 12 is a good one. Okay, number 12. So we've got 6x squared minus 13x plus 5. Alright, let's write out our a, b, and c and our AC. So a equals 6, b equals negative 13, and c equals 5. Alright. Oh, we forgot about AC. How could we forget about that? 6 times 5 makes 30. Let's utilize the magic x now. So B goes on the bottom, AC goes on top. So now this one's going to be a little bit tricky. We've got to think about what times what will make 30, but when added together makes negative 13. Since this bottom guy is negative, I'll give you guys a little hint. Since this bottom guy is negative and this top guy is positive, I know I'm going to have to follow the form negative, negative. Because a negative times a negative will make a positive, and a negative plus a negative makes another negative. And here we're going to get 10 and 3. Negative 10 times negative 3 makes 30. Negative 10 plus negative 3 makes negative 13. Alright, rewriting the magic x with our numerator. And once again, we get that numerator from this lead coefficient, lead term. So we're going to write 6x over negative 10 and 6x over negative 3. Alright, the next step is to reduce those fractions. So I'll zoom in over here. 6x over negative 10 is going to be equal to, we could divide the top and bottom by 2. So you'd get 3x over negative 5. And then over on this side, we would get, we can divide the top and bottom by 3, so this one's going to work out nicely. We're going to get 2x over negative 1. Alright, rewrite those as your binomials. This one right here is going to be 3x minus 5. And this factor over here is going to be 2x minus 1. And there you go, you've got your binomials. You can rewrite them. I'll write the final answer in purple as a product, so it would be 3x minus 5 times 2x minus 1. Alright, and that should do it for today's video. If you have any questions, please make sure to ask me tomorrow, and good luck on the rest of your assignment.